Hey YouTube, this is the Team Olympus, and this is Brandon with his Granblue deck built.
Alright, for the starting Vanguard, we use Captain Knight Kid. He's 5k. His ability is when another Granblue rises unit, you can call him to the rear guard, and you counterblast one, put him into the soul. You get to look at the top 10 cards from the top of your deck, search for one Granblue from among them, put the rest back in, put that one in the drop zone that you choose, and shuffle the rest in the deck. I also use one Chappie the Ghosty. He's a 10k shield and a 5k also. When he's placed into the guard zone, you search your deck for one Granblue, put that in the drop zone, and then shuffle. So he's mainly helps me put Night Mists and other stuff like that into the drop zone. For triggers, I only use 2 stand triggers. I use one Skeleton Lookout. He's just a 5k and a 10 shield. And then I use one Hades Steersman. When he's in the drop zone, when a grade 3 is placed on Vanguard, you get to call him to the same row as that in the rear guard. So he's just a 3k booster after you guard with him, and a stand trigger. I use, I think, 10 criticals, and 2 are Night Spirits. They're 5k and 10 shield. 4 are Ghoul Cannonballs, which are also 5k and 10 shields. And 4 are Rough Seas Banshee, which are 4k and 10 shield, but have the ability of when it's in the rear guard, you put in the soul. If you have a Granblue Vanguard, you draw a card. Lastly, for the triggers, I use 4 heal triggers, and using 4 Dr. Rogues, which are 5k and 10 shield. Moving on to grade 1s, we have 10. 1 Deadly Nightmare. He's a 7k attacker with a 5k shield. While he's in drop zone, you Soul Blast 2 and retire Granblue rear guard, and you call him to rear guard. So, one of him. 1 Dancing Cutlass is 5k attacker and 5k shield. You Soul Blast 2 when he's called to rear guard, and if you have a Granblue Vanguard, you draw a card by Soul Blasting 2. I use 2 Ripple Banshees. They're 6k attacker and a 5k shield, and when they're called to rear guard, you give plus 2k to any Granblue. I use 2 Gust Gens. They're the 0 shields. I only got 2 for now. I'm thinking about testing 3, but for now 2 is fine. He's also 6k attacker and 5 perfect shield. So. And for last of the grade 1s, I use 4 Samurai Spirits, because when he's in the drop zone, you counterblast 1 and retire Granblue rear guard to call him to the rear guard if you have a Granblue Vanguard. He's 7k attack and 5k shield. So that's it for grade 1s. For grade 2s, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 grade 2s. 1 Sea Navigator Silver. He's a 7k and 5k shield. When he's on Vanguard or rear guard, when he attacks, if the attack hits the Vanguard and you have 4 more other Granblue rear guards, you get to draw a card. So he just helps with hand control. I use 1 Deadly Spirit, Soul Blast 2, and retire grade 1 or greater Granblue rear guard to call him to the rear guard if you have Granblue Vanguard. So one of him. I use 1 3-star Chef. He's a 9k and a 5k shield, and when he's on Vanguard or rear guard, when his attack hits a Vanguard, if you have a Granblue Vanguard, you choose a card from your damage zone and flip it up. So it helps a lot because this deck counterblasts a ton. Next, 2, Captain Night Mists. I'm trying to get 2 more of him, but for now, 2. He's 8k and 5k shield. When he's on Vanguard, if you have another Night Mist in the drop zone, he gets plus 3k. And when he's in drop zone, you counterblast 1 and retire a grade 1 or greater Granblue Rearguard if you have a Granblue Vanguard and you call him to Rearguard. So, 2 of him. I use 4 Commodore Blue Blood. He's just a 10k with 5k shield. And lastly, for grade 2s, I use 3 Skeleton Swordsman because he's 8k, and when he guards the Granblue Vanguard, he gets a plus 5k shield, making him a 10k shield when he intercepts. So 3 of him. And that's it for grade 2s. For grade 3s, there are 8, which consist of 1 Ice Prison Necromancer. He's got Limit Break, which gives him plus 5k, and his ability is when he's placed on Vanguard, you counterblast 2 and choose a Granblue from your drop zone to call it to Rearguard. He's 10k and no shield. Next, I use 1 Master Swordsman Nightstorm. When he's on Vanguard or Rearguard, when he attacks a Vanguard, if you have a Granblue Vanguard, he gets plus 2k. So he's a 12k attacker by himself when you attack the Vanguard. I use 1 Witch Doctor for now until I get another Ice Prison Necromancer. He does pretty much the same thing, except he doesn't have Limit Break, and he's 8k instead of 10k. But you counterblast 2 when he's put on Vanguard or Rearguard. If you have a Granblue Vanguard, you pay the cost. If you do, choose a card from your drop zone and call it to Rearguard. So if you're using hybrid with like Granblue and Gold Paladin, he would definitely be a good card because you can call any card instead of just Gold Paladin or Granblue. So I'm using 1 of him for now. I'm using 1 Dragon Undead Skull Dragon. When he's on Rearguard, if this unit attacks, he gets plus 3k until the end of the turn, and then at the beginning of the end phase you retire him. When he's in the drop zone, you counterblast 1 and retire a grade 2 or greater Granblue Rearguard, and call him to Rearguard if you have Granblue Vanguard. So he's 13k by himself, which is good. Next, I use 3 Monster Franks. They're 10k, and they help a lot with grade problems. His ability is you counterblast 3, and if you have a grade 2 Vanguard, you can run it from the drop zone. So if I can't get grade 3s and I soul charge Night Kid, I could put Monster Frank in the drop zone to counterblast 3 and ride him from the drop zone. Lastly, for grade 3s, they're 3 Death Seeker Thanatos. He is an amazing card in my opinion, because when he's on Rearguard, you counterblast 1 and retire him when his attack hits to call any Granblue from your drop zone to the Rearguard except for himself. So this could definitely win you games, but this is 10k, so he's an amazing card if they focus on shielding your Vanguard, and then whatever else you attack with, if you attack with him and then they can't guard it, then you use his ability to call something else and they can't guard that, it could win you a game. So that's it for the Granblue.
Alright, thank you, and we'll be back with more card fighting videos and deck profiles.